Hello, hello friends. It's Thursday here at the Comfy Nest with Grace. I'm Grace and we're getting ready to work with craft kit number 12. This month the craft kit is a set of small tags. They're little. These make great gift tags to put on a gift basket, gift bag, hang on someone's door just as a sweet little greeting, hang on their mailbox. There's all kinds of things you can do with these. We're gonna create with these and with napkins. Now, the kit included the 3 tags, a whole bundle of napkins. I have a couple of them here. You would have gotten a pouncing brush and a glue brush, although my pouncing brush I have decorated. You would get a plain pouncing brush. Your glue brush, you would have gotten a bottle of glue, a bottle of stickles, which is the sparkly stuff that we're going to use at the end to just embellish these a little bit. What you did not get that you might want is some paint. I am going, because these are the brown craft board, you know, these are those MDF craft board wood. We're going to paint it white before we put our napkins on there. So I'm actually just going to do 2 of them today. I don't think I need to do all 3. You get 3 in the box. You can create 1 at a time, do all 3 at once. It's totally up to you. But I think I'm going to do 2 because I have these 2 napkins that I've chosen. I love this one. This is from the Napkin Lovers Club. Pinstripe farmhouse style. I love it. I think it makes a great backdrop for any project. And then I'm going to use this one, which has a ocean theme, obviously, a beach theme. And these will both be backgrounds. Now, some of you would have gotten napkins in your bundle that could be its own focal point. Okay, if you're using it for a birthday gift or like a little gift basket for somebody to celebrate something, you could use this one as a gift basket. So this is a full focal point onto itself, but I'm going to be using background designs. Hello and welcome. I'm glad you're here. I'm going to grab the feed, make sure I can see the comments while I'm creating so I can chat with you guys. That would be lovely. Let's just see if I can get to where I need to go. And then we'll be ready to have some fun creating. What are you guys all up to today? Who's creating today? And what are you creating today? What's on your craft table? I'd love to know. What are you working on in your creative space? There we go. Found me. I found me. Thanks, Kimberly. It's new. Thank you. Thank you. You love the llamas, Christine. Isn't that cute? He's just a party, or maybe she. He or she, just a little party llama. Just getting ready to get our party on. Hey, Debbie, how are you? Who else is here? Holly is here. Jenny is here. Hello, friend. Thank you, Debbie, for sprinkling. I appreciate you so much, darling. Thank you, thank you. Hey, Lisa, how are you? Look at all you girls just streaming in here. Andrea's journal making today. What kind of journal are you making? I have a really fun one in mind that I want to do. So what are you making? What's got you inspired and excited? I'm going to start painting while we chat. Got my little porcelain dish here that I use to just, you know, if I just need a little bit of paint or glue or texture medium, these little porcelain dishes are really easy. They don't take up a lot of space and they're really easy to clean. So I like using them as opposed to using like, you can use a paper towel. Some people use tin foil. I used tin foil for a while. Oh, I used the wrong brush, but that's okay. I've got plenty of brushes, thankfully. You could use, some people use wax paper. Some people use paper plates for their, you know, to put their paint in or their glue in. I like to use those little porcelain dishes. In fact, I just ordered some new ones that are a different shape, which I'm excited about. I've used them already a couple of times. Easy. We're just putting a coat of paint. Now, this coat of paint does not need to be perfect. When you're putting napkins over it, the goal is simply to give a nice bright white background so that your napkin colors really pop. They really show well on a white background as opposed to the brown background. And actually, I will show you that. I will demonstrate that for you here in a second. Getting paint all over myself. Imagine that. I don't think there's a day, there aren't many days, I should say, that go by that when I close up shop for the day, go to make, you know, dinner for my family, I get into the kitchen, I wash my hands, and I'm generally there's glue or texture medium or some sort of paint or something on my fingers. Okay, actually, I'm going to paint this other one while I'm at it, and then I'm going to demonstrate and show you the difference between a painted and non-painted surface. for your napkins. Who likes to create with, who are my napkin lovers out there? Who are my napkin lovers? I know many of you were in the Napkin Lovers Club when that existed on its own. It is now merged into the Craft Therapy Club. So every month we do 2 napkin projects. One is always a napkin journal page, and then the other is like a home decor or like general craft project. And so this is the craft project for the month. Working with napkins because they're super versatile. They're everywhere, easy to get. They're inexpensive. I mean, they check off all the boxes, as my son would say. Mom, it checks off all the boxes when we were looking for colleges. And he decided on the one he wanted. I said, why though? Why this school? I wanted him to go to a different one. Yeah, but he's enrolled in the one that checks off all the boxes. That was his answer to me. It checks off all the boxes, Mom. Okay, so there we are. Debbie loves napkin crafting. That's right. That's right. You don't have to hold the dish, Debbie, if you don't want to. It's nice and heavy and sturdy, you know, so it doesn't, like a paper, you know, if you used wax paper, if you used a towel or a paper plate, when you go to dip in, sometimes that can move around and those will stay in place for you. I'm trying to get a little bit of paint off. Be nice. Okay. I'm going to separate my napkins. I'm going to use both of these, you know, one on each tag. Good morning, Denise. Jeanette, how are you, friend? Oh, thanks, darling. Thanks for saying so. All right, I gotta do the lick thing. Don't look. I gotta lick my finger. That's so weird. Thank you for saying so. I slept pretty good last night. You guys, for the first time in my life, I will admit to this to you. For the first time in my life, I have taken Tylenol PM because I need to sleep, girls, and I'm not... My grounding blanket works great, but I've had some nights where the pain is so bad that I can't sleep. So irritating, and it's like, what's the word? Distracting. It's hard to relax when you're in pain. So it's pretty hard to fall asleep and, you know, relax enough to fall asleep. So I decided, since I'm going to be taking... Oh, it's Advil PM. Since I'm going to be taking Advil anyway, I might as well try this PM stuff. So I called the pharmacy, you know, can I take this with the other medications that I'm already taking? Yes, you can. And last night, it didn't work for anything for the first night, but last night I took it for the second time and I felt like it did help. I feel like it did help. So I got a good stretch of sleep. I can't get this thing apart for the life of me. Hey, Lori. Anybody else use Advil PM? It's the first time I've ever used it. I'm just grateful I got a little sleep. Maybe, girls, I know this has 2 plies. When I have trouble one place, I'll move to a new place. Like, let's try a different corner, because sometimes it's just super stubborn. There we go. Almost immediately. We got it. Just when you think there's 1 ply. I knew this one had more than one. I just was having trouble on that corner. I don't need a lot. It's a very small surface, but I'm going to pull this back so I can show you something. Let's pull it back so I have half of it down to 1 ply. Okay, here we go. You can see there's that second ply. Now, when I put this down, if you kind of focus on the table for a minute, I have my brown and I have my white. So as an example to compare the two, the reason we paint the surface before we put the napkin down. The napkin is so thin and so translucent. You can see the shadow of my hand behind it. That's how thin it is. So when we put this down on a brown wood panel, you see brown wood panel. When you put it down on white, all it does is like make that red pop out like crazy. I'm going to try to pick this up and show it to you, so you can see it closer to the camera. See the difference? See how bright this side is versus the brown wood? And you can even see the burnt edges. They cut these with lasers, and you can see the burnt edges of the wood even through that napkin because it's that thin. That is a really dramatic difference. There's nothing wrong with the brown one. Nothing wrong. If that's the look you're going for, then go for it. Generally, I paint my surfaces because I want the color of the napkin to really pop off of the project. I want them to really be noticeable. Now, I think I want this stripe. I want it to go straight down the middle, but I'm actually doubting myself a little bit. I'm going to hold off on this one. let's get this napkin prepared. Take one Benadryl if I can't sleep. Oh, pain insomnia. That's a good one. I don't know there was a name for it, but it's the worst. It's the worst. Whoever sent me stars, thank you. I see a little emblem up there that says I got some stars. Thank you, whoever sent me stars. Let's see, what can I give you? If I do 2 peace signs, you'll get some confetti. Let's do that, 2 peace signs. Let's do some confetti on the screen. Yeah, baby, thanks for the stars. You're a rock star, helping me out that way. What a friend. I appreciate it. All right, let's see. I think that's it for this one. And look at, I mean, it's a really pretty design. If I put the brown behind it, it kind of yellows it, right? That's the brown side. If I flip it and put the white behind it, look at how bright and vibrant those shells and all pop off. Now this one is a repeat pattern. There's not a lot of choice here, so I'm gonna go ahead and put this one down and on here. The other one, I don't know, I don't know if I should put the stripes right down the middle or if I should move them off to the side. It depends on what focal point I go with. Okay, I accidentally used my glue brush for my paint. So I'm gonna put that in water and put the paint aside and then grab a different brush for the glue. Which one do I wanna use? Which one? I thought I had another little one like that white, but I don't. This one, I'm gonna use this one. It's kind of crusty already and old. I try to keep some brushes just for glues and for like texture mediums and things like that. And then other brushes just for paints because the glues are a lot more, they really kind of erode your brushes a lot more. So this is Pentart Matte Varnish and Glue. I'm just being careful around that little hole for the whatever ribbon or rope you want to put. I don't want to get a lot of like gobs of glue in there, so I was just being real gentle around that. Okay, we're going to wet this down pretty good with glue. It's a glue and varnish, so it works under the napkin, and then you can put it over the napkin to varnish the napkin and finish it off. And it's a varnish. It's not, I do think there's a difference between that and a top coat. A top coat I think is thicker and leaves more of like a hard coat, where a varnish is softer. It still top coats it and protects it, but it's just a softer coat. Okay, this just can go anywhere. Doesn't matter. We're gonna put it in. And then I do use my pouncer brush. Just a little chip brush, and I'm gonna pounce that napkin in to that glue. I really embrace the wrinkles. I love the way they look, so I'm not even trying to edge them out or anything. I'm really embracing them. I love the texture on my projects. So there we go. We're gonna set this aside. Now, I know that this product is thin enough. Just another tip for you when you're using this pouncing method to get your napkin onto your project. Whatever glue you've used underneath, with whatever decoupage glue, this one it's more like a gel. It's not very liquidy. Now, if I had taken this, if this had Mod Podge in it and I went like that, the Mod Podge would go all over the desk, right? This is thicker. So I know that it doesn't absorb as quickly into the napkin and through the napkin as Mod Podge does. You will get to learn this. The more stuff you do, the more you work with your products, your supplies, your glues, you're gonna know this. When you're pouncing, you're pushing the dry napkin into the wet glue and making them become one, adhere together. But what inevitably happens if you do this enough and you have enough glue underneath, the liquid gets absorbed right into that napkin, and the top of the napkin is actually damp now. It's now wet. That can also transfer to your brush. So when you're doing this pouncing method, check your brush often. And if it gets a little bit of liquid on it, liquid glue or dampness on it, just take a paper towel and wipe it off, because you don't want the glue to transfer onto your brush, and then when you pounce down, part of the napkin sticks to it and comes up. We want to avoid that. Some glues are drier than others. Like this one's really thick, so I can easily pounce, pounce, pounce and not worry about a whole lot of glue getting through. If it were Mod Podge, which I use Mod Podge too, it's much thinner and it absorbs into that napkin faster, and it will transfer onto your pouncing brush faster. So just keep that in mind when you're pouncing. We're gonna put this aside and let it, well, let's figure out focal points. I really wanted a bird for the farmhouse one. So I grabbed this. This is a piece of rice paper in the shop. It's also the rice paper that the newest members of the Craft Therapy Club. So, yeah, it was last month. So in March, I sent out a private invitation to the people on the wait list. There were about 40 people on the wait list for the Craft Therapy Club, and 8 of them joined. Welcome, new members. Whenever somebody joins the Craft Therapy Club, I send them a bundle of napkins and rice papers that we will use throughout the next few months in the club to create with for our 2 napkin projects a month. So this is one of the rice papers that they got, and I think I really like this, this birdie right here. So not for that, that's an ocean theme. This one is kind of a farmhouse theme, and what I'm trying to decide, I love the owl too, you guys. Look at that owl. First thing I got to do is see, will it fit in its entirety on the tag? The owl will fit. This bird, because it's so long, I would lose either part of the crown or part of the tail, so that's out. This one definitely would fit. It's the smallest one. This little pink one, I kind of like the pink one too. Ugh. So if I put this owl down in front of the stripe, I'm going to need to put, watch what will happen. See that white owl? If I put this striped napkin behind it on a white background, you can see the stripe right through the owl. Maybe that's what you're going for. Sometimes I actually do that purposefully. I love seeing like diamond shapes and patterns on faces of like human faces, like women. And I've done some art journal pages that way. I love that look, but maybe that's not what I'm going for. And it really isn't. I don't want this stripe to appear on my bird. So I'm going to end up putting my bird on a piece of paper and then gluing it down to the feather. So I'll take like, this is watercolor paper. So I'm going to glue one of these birdies down on watercolor paper so that the stripes don't show through. It's just, I can't decide which one. And I want to be able to see the stripes. All right, let's do this first, Gracie. Let's get this piece of paper down to the right size, okay? It needs to be smaller than this because I want to be able to see the striped paper. So I'm just going to start tearing this down so that it's a little bit shorter and a little bit narrower. And I want torn edges. Let's tear all 4 edges so I get my torn edges. And then I can decide just how big I want it. Thank you for sprinkling, Cindy. I appreciate the help. Hello in Michigan. Hey, Janet. How are you, friend? Let me check some comments while I'm tearing. Holly says, I made an ATC card last night. I tried to replicate what you did on the live yesterday with chalk, but it didn't come out so good, so I fixed it. Hey, girl, we all have to fix things, right? You saw my project yesterday that one of the 3 ATC cards that I made, the one with the butterfly, didn't even show up really great. Even though I used a nice contrasting color, didn't show up real great. It happens sometimes. We roll with it. Good job, Crafty Chick. All right. I love the way the torn edges look because I'm a huge fan of that look. It's still too wide, so I got to tear more. I'm going to tear like this much more. I'd rather tear not enough and go in for more than to tear too much. It's got to be the right size. Like I want it to showcase on here, but then I want the stripe to show as well. Now that fits, but you won't see a whole lot of the stripe. To be honest with you, you won't see a whole lot of the stripe. So now I go to my birds and I take my little piece of paper and I'm trying to see which bird can I fit on here. That bird fits perfectly. This bird would fit, I just wouldn't be missing just the slightest part of the tail. This one fits perfectly. So this is the one. This is the one we're going to take. And let's just see something for a minute. I'll hold it up to the light and then I can really see what I'm doing. You guys, it like literally just fits. I had also grabbed other rice papers. I love this little girl. Isn't she cute? With her little gift box. There's a big one and a little one of her. Same image, just big one, little one. I love these vintage photos. I also printed out, oh, like her, I want her for the mermaid one, or for the ocean one, I think. Let's see, I printed out a lamb, I printed out some more birds, I printed out a rooster and an owl, another owl that I could put on here too. So I'm just working my way through the process of deciding. I think I'm going with the bird. Let's go with the bird. Okay, I need to get my bird off of here. So let's grab just a tiny paintbrush and some water. Do I have a water brush close by? I thought I did. Yeah, I have one right here. I was using it for some watercolor fun the other night. Okay, I'm going to draw a wet circle around the bird, the shape that I want it. And then we'll use our fingers to just kind of tear it off of because I don't need all of the whole square. I just need the bird. All I'm going to be able to fit on here is the bird. And maybe I'll shape the paper more like the bird. Don't know, I haven't decided yet. So I just made, you can see it better on this side, a wet ring around the bird so I could pull it off of this paper because I can't fit all of that. I can only fit part of it. Oh, I need more wetness right there. It just makes, the wetness makes it easier to tear. Like, it's really not very much work at all. Sometimes I use a rubber eraser to help me with this. Your water ring will dry on you. It dries actually pretty quickly, so you might have to go back and add more water. So now I just have the bird, right? Well, let's see. I think, girls, I think I'm going to do this differently. Instead of making the white paper the same, or a square, like a frame around the bird, I think I'm going to make it the same size as the bird. So even though I did that, I'm changing my mind. Make up your mind as you go, Gracie. It's okay. Let's get this bird on here. I'm just going to glue it down. Same glue that I used on the wood. You can use it on paper. And then I'm going to tear around it to get it off there in the shape of the bird, so that the paper takes on the same shape as the bird itself. Okay, let's get her on there. Under, and now I'm going over. And rice paper, you can do this very easily with because it's so much sturdier than napkins. Napkins, you have to be way more gentle. You can do it, you just have to be more gentle. All right, there we go. Gotta let that dry. And I have to decide how to put my, I still haven't decided how to put my, do I need this? I don't think I need it. The cap on that glue. I still have to decide how I want my stripes to show behind this bird. I want it right down the middle. Oh, I can't decide, girls. Let's see. I mean, it's like a grain sack kind of striping, and it would be great right down the middle, but you're not going to see a whole lot of it with this bird over it. Heck, let's just try it and see what it turns out to be. It's just a simple project, right? No pressure. You never know until you try. I try to visualize as much as possible by holding things up and, well, what it would look like if I do this, or how about if I change it like this? Because I'm super visual. Sometimes you just have to go for it. I'm really trying to saturate that wood with that glue. So I get it all on there, and then I go through and smooth it out a little bit. Don't miss your edges, Gracie. We need more glue right there. There. Do you guys enjoy working on more than one at a time? Do you ever do this where you have like 3 of them lined up and you've got them all in different phases of work? Or do you like to just do one in its entirety and then pick up the other one and start with the painting? Like, I painted them both, and now I'm doing the napkin part of it on both, and then I'll go ahead and put the focal point on both. How do you do it? Do you do it that way when you're doing more than one? I'm going to show you. You can use the glue on a brush over a napkin. It just, you have to be super gentle with it. So as soon as you wet that napkin with that glue, it's very easy to tear. So do you do one part at a time on multiples, or do you do one whole project and then pick up the next one? I mean, it's like batch making things, right? If you have like Christmas cards or birthday invitations or something that you're trying to make and you need to make 10 of them to invite 10 people, do you do each one on its own? Or do you do, I do it both ways actually. I'm doing graduation invitations now, graduation announcements and invitations to my son's like graduation party. I did all the return addresses first and then opened all the envelopes. And then I sat down with the invitations and stuffed them all. So I did them like a batch. Which is interesting. There's no right or wrong. It's just, how does your brain work? Which do you prefer? All right, we're gonna do a little drying. Where's my other guy here? This needs to dry. And this needs to dry. I think this one, well, it's not dry. I'm actually gonna, just so I have more room on my table, I'm gonna tear this one. This one's the most dry. I'm gonna tear that off and then I can dry all three at once. You work on a few at a time. I tend to be that way too. Instead of doing one whole, this one in its entirety and then pick up the next one, like if I have to paint them, I paint them both at the same time. So I kind of do the same thing, Lisa. Hey Jackie, how are you, friend? Oh, Denise, you ain't kidding me. She said it's hard to believe that your boys are old enough to graduate. It's blown my mind. I don't know what my life is going to be like in 2 years, girls. I'll tell you what. My family is always my top priority, and I'm a stay-at-home mom. They don't need me nearly as much as they did. You know, obviously, when they were little and needed me to help them go to the bathroom and get dressed and they needed diaper changes. I mean, when you think about it, they need you physically when they're babies and young children to go to the bathroom, to wash their hands, to take a bath. We are well beyond that point. They don't need me for any of that. I still do their laundry. Sometimes they do their own, but like Landon said to me yesterday, he said, Mom, if I bring up a bunch of laundry this morning, will you try to get some done today? I was like, yes, I would love to. I love to help them. I find being a mom, a stay-at-home mom, brings me so much joy. It brings me so much joy. I love to serve them in that way. That is my purpose in life, is to serve them and to raise them to be strong young men who contribute to the world. But they certainly don't need me as much anymore. I don't have to drive them anywhere. They both can drive themselves wherever they need to go. They both have their own bank accounts now with their own debit cards. It's crazy to me. Crazy to me. So I'm going to find myself with a lot more freedom than I have now, because I don't really travel without them very often, almost never. If I'm going to travel, it's with my family. It's for our family. But when they're both in college, I'm going to have a lot more freedom. I'm thinking overnight retreats. I'm thinking I can head to places where you guys are that are closer to where some of you are, and we can meet. Like, all come together in one little town and do a weekend retreat of crafting and hangout time, fellowship time together. How fun would that be? How fun would that be? My dream is to do a crafting cruise. I would love to board a cruise with some of you girls. Do a 5-day crafting and fellowship cruise where we all board the cruise for 5 days or whatever. And we get together once a day, either for the bingo on the ship or to play crafting games or to go, like we would do a combination of getting together as a group and giving you your own free time so you can enjoy your cruise with, you know, say you brought your husband or your sister, so you'd have time to do that too. I would love to do that. Anybody think that would be fun? I have wanted to do a crafting cruise at, like, myself as a guest for a long time, but I'm getting to the point now where I can envision, since both of them, in the next 2 years, both of my boys will be off to school. I'm really confident they'll both be moving away for school. Lennon is leaving in August. He'll be going to UND, which is 90 miles away. So I won't get to see him daily anymore. It was so sad. And my other son is a junior now. So the year after him, His brother will be joining him, maybe at the same university. I have no idea. My point is, I'll have a lot more freedom to travel because they won't be looking for me to make their dinners and do their laundry. They're going to be responsible for all that themselves at school for most of the year. So I think I'm going to be freed up to hang out with you girls. Who's in? Anchor Art Creation says, I'm in Fall River, Massachusetts. Actually, tell me your first name because I don't, thank you for being here, first of all. Thanks for visiting. I would love to know what your first name is. Dorinda says she would go. This Fall River person, I grew up in Massachusetts. That's where my family is, and I haven't been back in a couple of years. We do a family vacation every year, my family and I organize it. We've been doing it for like 8 or 9 years since my dad died, which was 10 years ago. So 9 years we've been doing this. This might be the 10th year. Anyway, it was always in New England. I would always pick a house rental in Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Vermont. We've done Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Vermont, Maine. We didn't do Connecticut, Rhode Island, but we've done those states. We did Pennsylvania one year. 2 years ago, we ventured a little further away. We went to Virginia. And then last year we went on a cruise, my family. So for 2 years, I have not gotten back to Boston, but that's where I'm from and that's where my family is from. So I was thinking that would be a really easy destination for me to go for one of these crafting get-togethers because my family is there. So it would be 2 for 1. I could meet up with some of you girls and I could get to see my Boston family. So that would be a really easy destination for us to get together. Jeanette, you would go for sure. Wouldn't it be so fun, Jeanette, to cruise for a few days together? Ooh, see the sights, enjoy the good weather, have a cold beverage in the sun, create together. Oh, it sounds like fun, doesn't it, Wanda? It's like a dream of mine. Christine, welcome, Christine Landry. I'm so glad you're here. I'm going to check out your page. You were just talking to Chris Hunter and Dina about this the other day. About what, Karen? Like destination creative weekends or about cruising or both? Tell me. Okay, so here's what I got. I got 2 backgrounds. How lovely is that? I got 2 backgrounds. I love this one. This one will always make me happy. I see this in it. I don't know why. It's so dang simple, girls. This one always brings me joy. When we first worked with this napkin, we put it on a large wooden box. We put it on the side, big stripe on one side, big stripe on the other side, and we put a big bright blue rooster on top of it. And it was like a home decor box, or you could use it for like a planter's box, or it would fit 3 mason jars, so you could use it for utensils on your table. You could use it for a whole lot of things. We did that way back when in the Napkin Lovers Club. And I still have some of these napkins left, so I thought, well, let's use it again because I love it so much. This is universal, right? You could take this so farmhouse and put a lamb on top, a little bunny on top. I'm going to try to get this bird on top. So let's see if I can rip this down to be on top of there. So I'm going to come around and I think I'm going to rip right at the line of the colored paper, the rice paper. So we're going to have a ripped paper look to our little birdie. And I'm going to go right on the edge. And if I have to, I can go back and take a little more off. This one's your favorite too, Laura. Isn't that just bright and beautiful? It kind of matches my shirt too. Just bright and beautiful. I don't know. It's so simple. I like simple. I can't reach my hand in here, so I really have to cut off this. That one big white piece is preventing me from getting my hand in there. Let's chop that off. These are the little pieces of watercolor paper. I stuff them right in here. And anytime I need to test a color next to a project or test a product like a glue or a shimmer and see how it's going to look, or an embossing powder, I do it on watercolor paper. It's what I did to make my embossing powder samples, like so I could see the shininess of these. Are they super shiny? How much glitter do they have? I love having these little swatches so that when I'm doing a project and I'm looking for an embossing powder that matches, I can come in with my these are the 2 main ones that I use, and see how they look so different on paper than they do in the jar. Like this Milky Way one is very unusual, right? This one too. It's got a really cool color. Anyway, watercolor paper, it's really good to have just a little bit on hand. I use it all the time as like a utility, kind of like my scissors. I use it all the time. All right. Cruise first, someone said, crafting and cruising, and then they like the idea of just fellowship and friendship, meet and greet. Karen, I think the ultimate would be a little bit of both, right? Because if you went on the cruise with a Comfy Nest with Grace, say in 2 years, I organize a cruise, I book a bunch of rooms, you guys grab your rooms, invite a friend to go with you, and we say, you're going to get a grab bag on the ship. You're going to get a grab bag full of craft supplies. So you don't have to bring anything with you, probably. I think that's how we would do it. You would come and just everything would be provided for you on the ship. Then I would say we're gone for 5 to 7 days. We're gone for 5 days. Tonight's Sunday. We're going to do just a meet and greet. Everybody get together in the dining room at 6 o'clock. We're going to meet each other, get to know each other. And then I would have probably excursions available that you could sign up for, or you don't have to. I would have craft activities that you could go to, or you don't have to. I mean, but the whole idea would be to be crafting with friends, right? I mean, if you're going to do a cruise and all you want to do is cruise, you could do that on your own. You don't need to do it with a bunch of strangers, people you never met. But I would think that like going to bingo together, going to karaoke together, they have so many fun activities, girls, on these cruises. I didn't think I would like a cruise. I didn't think I would like it. I won a cruise through Chocatour as one of their designers. And of course, it was like, okay, I earned this cruise for 2 people. So I took my sister with me. She had cruised before. And I was like, I'm not even sure that I'm going to like this. She's like, oh, believe me, you're going to like it. I loved it. I loved every minute of it. I loved every minute of it. I loved sitting on the deck in the sun, playing cards, and just watching the ocean go by. I loved it so much. I loved like waking up in the morning and they'd be like, okay, you can get off the boat and go check out whatever destination is, St. Thomas, or go check out, you know, the Tortola is one of the places we went. Look at how cute. So it's definitely small enough to fit on there. I feel like, I'm not sure that that vibe is going with this bird too much now that I got them together. I'm going to come back to this one because I'm not so sure. I do this too when I'm creating. Sometimes I think, it needs something. I'm not sure that this is the right bird for this. I love the bird. So I'll think about that later. Let's get back to this one. I have to decide which focal point. I love mermaids. Maybe that's why I want to do a cruise. And I printed out a couple, like I love her. And there's some green. There's some green embedded in these shells. So that green background really matches well. This one, she's always been a favorite of mine. You can see if you look around her neck and in her hair, it's seaweed. So even though you can't see scales in a mermaid's tail, which would be the obvious, okay, she's a mermaid, this is listed on the Graphics Fairy. If you go to graphicsfairy.com, she has copyright-free images that you can print out and use on your projects. This has always been one of my favorites, and it's listed under the mermaids. But you have to look really close. You can see the seaweed in her hair, and I've always thought she's so beautiful. I don't know if she was based on a real person or if she was just painted by somebody or sketched by somebody. I have no idea. I'm going to cut her out and just see, is she the one I want on this project or not? I know, me too, Wanda. I'm a huge fan of mermaids. I always have been. I don't know why. Why is it that we're attracted to certain things? I don't know. Do you have a favorite animal? Like, when I was young, like elementary and high school, I just loved elephants and giraffes. I thought they were so cute. I always feel like they're such sweet animals. I still feel that way. Why? Why do I like them more than I like ducks? I don't know. I just do. Just do. Okay. That's what she's going to look like on there. And I think she fits beautifully. And so you have that background. If I cut off that white frame, we'll even see more of the background. But then again, I'd lose that frame making her the focal point. So I don't think I will do that. I'm going to cut this other one out. And I just want to see, because I'm super visual. Let's cut this other stinker out and see, what does this one look like on there? You could use, you know, your straight blade cutter paper cutter, but I just use scissors. That's fine. I could have run it through my, my straight blade. Okay. There she is. She's long and narrow, so she's definitely going to be different on here. See, she's so pretty on here too. She fits perfectly. Which one did you like better on there? I think I like this one better, but I want to know what you think. You like the green one? Or let's call this black and white. It's basically black and white, but there's some sepia tones in there too, because it has that green in there. You've never been on a cruise, Jeanette? Maybe you can join us. Let's do this. You like the green one, Trisha? The longer, skinny one. Callie likes the black and white. Hi, Callie. I didn't realize you were here. Debbie likes the black and white. Denise likes the black and white. Listen, I don't think you can go wrong with either of them. You guys, my husband's trying to pick something out that he wants. He's been looking at it for a long time. He does a cold plunge 3 days a week. And he's doing it in this, you guys, he's doing it in, I don't know the words. Let me think about this for a minute. He's doing it in a tub. So it's a tub that used to store or hold for transport. I think it was beets or something like that. We live in a farming community. It's huge, you guys. 4 people could fit in this thing. It's a huge tub that's on a pallet, and it's about this tall. So he uses a chair. He fills it up with hose water. It's usually about 42 degrees, the water, between 42 and 46 degrees. He gets in it and he cold plunges. And he's really, actually, his diabetes has completely reversed, and he's in the process of figuring out that he may not need all of the diabetic medications and the shots, the insulin shots that he's been on, because we attribute it to the cold plunge. There's no other difference in his lifestyle other than the cold plunge. So he wants to buy an actual cold plunge tub. No right or wrong, right? This is why this came to mind for me. No right or wrong. I'm kind of the person that's like, you're going to be fine either way. Like, they're both going to look great. So don't like agonize over which one. Just pick one and go with it. Okay. Then I go to instinct. Like, my gut originally was like, oh, I really like the black and white one on there. So I think I'm going to put the black and white one on there, but I love to know what you like. I think it's really great to get to know you by asking which you prefer. So like Allie saying, I like the black and white one. Well, I was having this conversation with my husband because, you guys, it took him, like, when he buys something big, like, oh, we need a new car, it takes him, sorry about that, I got a call. It takes him like years to figure this out. And I'm like, for goodness sake, he just talks about it and researches it, and he researches it and watches videos and reads articles. And I'm like, good gravy. A car's a car is a car. Like, you might like one feature better than the other, but in the end, just make a decision and go with it. I have no patience for the years of deciding. I'm like, just make a decision and go with it. Like, same thing with a cruise. You could say, oh, like, should I go to the Mediterranean? Should I go up into Nova Scotia? Should I go down into the Caribbean? Listen, I don't think any of them are bad. So just make a decision and go with it. If they all cost about the same, there's really nothing to worry about. The decision's not going to be wrong. There's no wrong decision when it comes to this. So he's into this with this cold plunge thing. He is trying to decide. And I said to him, don't you dare make this a big, long drive. You know you're going to use it. You're already cold plunging 3 or 4 times a week. My other son cold plunges. So there's 2 people in the house using this cold plunge several times a week. I said, just get it. We'll use so much less water because this beet container is freaking huge. It's like twice the size of my bathtub. I said, you will use so much less water if you just get a regular cold plunge tub, but they're expensive. So I do understand that he's working out all the pros and cons, but I'm like, good gravy. I do not want to hear about this for the next 2 years. Lennon will be gone and like in his own, like, just get it now while the kids are home so they can use it too. Because Gannon I tried it once, you guys, and I got up to here. You're supposed to go down. There's brown fat back here. If you ever research it, there's brown fat back here in your body, and you're trying to increase the brown fat in your body. It's good for your health. Just believe me. We have watched a gazillion podcasts, read a gazillion blogs and articles about this. Anyway,
You're supposed to go down to here, like up to your like neck, so just your head is out. Hot girls. It was like, I waited until the next day. So they put the hose water in the thing. It's like 42 to 46 degrees, usually the water. The next day, water was still there the next day. And they were like, are you going to try it? Are you going to try it? I'm like, I hate being cold. I said, if it was a little warmer, I put my foot in. One day, girls, I put my foot in the darn thing and it was immediate pain in my bones. I was bone chilling. I mean, it was painful in my bones. I put my foot in up to here twice. My husband was like, just do it. Just get in. I couldn't get beyond my knee at 42 degrees. I was like, there's no freaking way I can do this. Well, then the next day after they had used it once and the water was still in there, it had gone up. The temperature in the tub is in our garage. So the temperature in the tub went up to like, I think it was like 50 degrees. It was around 50. Maybe it was a little higher, 52 degrees. And I was like, I can do 52. That's almost 10 degrees warmer. So I got in and I did get up to my waist, but I could not make myself, they have like a little stool in there that they sit on so that they can be up. I couldn't do it. I was like, I'll stay in 3 minutes up to here. And I feel like that's a feat. I can't do it. I cannot do it at 42 degrees. I cannot do it. I have a hot tub, Sydney. That's my choice. I like to get in the hot tub. I love my hot tub. It's the most relaxing thing ever. Yes, Betty, she says, the cost and effects of all the medicines taken can cost you more in the long run, where natural remedies cost like that upfront are just a one-time spend. Well, we absolutely are attributing his reversal of his diabetes to this. His glucose level is so steady now. He has reduced the insulin that he's on, and he's come off a couple of other medications that they had him on, and he's really, really solid, really comfortable, really solid with that. I don't think I could do it, Debbie says. I don't even like getting in a pool, like a heated pool. I get in and I'm like the person that goes in. My kids will say, just jump in, Mom. It's so much easier, but I can't do it. I'm like, one step at a time. I go down and with each step, I'm like, oh, that's so cold. And then 2 steps. And then I go to my knee and I'm like, oh man, it's so cold. And they say, just jump in, but I can't. I don't know. Do you girls jump or do you do the ooh, oh, it's too cold. I torture myself with every step. But it's just, I've been that way since I was a child. Well, I shouldn't say that, because when I was a child, I used to jump in the pool, but I didn't feel like the water was too cold. Now I just don't like being cold. I don't like it. Betty says, I can't do anything colder than my body temperature. I like just moderate. I don't want to be too hot. I don't want to be too cold. This is why my son, Gannon, always says, she just wants what she wants. Like he'll turn to my husband and say, Dad, she just wants what she wants. Exactly, Gannon. You get me. You can't plunge, Wanda. I can't. It's so flippin' uncomfortable and cold. The science behind the benefits is incredible. It's incredible, the science behind the benefits of cold plunging. And they've been cold plunging in Norwegian, I don't know, would you say, is that the right word? Like Sweden and Norway, like all the Norwegian, Scandinavian countries, they've been cold plunging for thousands of years. And they still do it today. They have cold plunging communities. But it was immediate pain to my extremities. I was listening to Huberman's podcast. This man who has a podcast, he's a neurologist and an ophthalmologist. Super science brain, super smart. And he was saying, if you're one of those people whose hands and feet can't take the extreme, then wear gloves and wear like neoprene boots when you do the cold plunge. I'm like, maybe that would do it, but somehow I doubt it. Somehow I think I'll still feel it everywhere. Kelly says, just jump in. One quick shock versus the longer stretches of feeling the pain. Oh, good gravy. Kelly, I wish I had it in me. Hey, Teresa. I put your heart in shock. Betty, there is something about it making, well, if you watch videos of people cold plunging, almost every single person who does it, it takes them about 30 seconds to catch their breath because the cold is so extreme that they have to take about 30 seconds to a minute just to like regulate their breathing alone. And then they can just, you're supposed to sit for about 3 minutes in there and get out. It fascinates me. Cindy used to jump in when the water was cold. I wish I was that person. Laura's gradual. Laura, you and me, girl. When we go on the cruise, you can gradually enter the pool with me. Just one step at a time. I like to get my feet in, get used to it, and then I go down on my knee, like one more step down to my knee, and then I get used to it, and then I go that last step where it usually the pool at one of these places takes you to like your waist level, and then I catch my breath, get used to it, and then once I've gotten used to that, I can sometimes get down a little lower, but not always. Not always. Lisa says, when I was a teenager and in my early 20s, we would go roll in the snow and then get in the jacuzzi. That's about the same thing. That's these like hold and heat therapies that a lot of people are doing to heal their bodies from so many things. It's phenomenal. The science behind it is phenomenal. Debbie's gradual. Debbie, you and me, we're both gradual. Yes, Andrea, I do remember that. She said swimming in the Northeast in the summer is freezing. One year we took our family vacation was in Maine. What's the name of the town? Where did we go? Old Orchard Beach, Maine. And the beach was really rocky, really pretty, but in a Maine kind of way. Tons of rocks on the beach. And I remember it was a beautiful sunny degree, it's like 90-degree day. We went down to the beach, us with the kids. And I went in up to my knee and I'm like, hell to the no. I'm not going. It was ice cold. The kids went in. They had no problem with it. But I was like, oh no, this girl ain't going in there. It's just far too cold. I just don't like being cold. This one I am so sure of that I want this one on here. And in fact, you guys, I could put this on, when I put it on, it's a thin piece of printer paper. When I put it on the watercolor paper is thicker and it's going to raise it up even just a little bit off of the page. You could also put like styrofoam tabs underneath it to raise it up even more. You've seen people do that in paper crafting. I actually like this. I'm just going to put her on there flat. I'm going to just clean up my cut lines because I can see a crooked, like a really obvious crooked there. And I'm going to make this line a little bit smaller, this frame, this little bit of white on the bottom a little bit smaller, and here too. I'm just going to diminish the frame around her a little bit. I'm taking off slivers. It's not anything real big, but I want them to be even. And I want to see as much of that background, the pretty blue and green shells, as possible. So she's going to go on here like that. And then you can still see the shells around her. So I'm going to glue her down. I'm really happy with her here. We still have this out. So what I have to be careful about with this is that this is printed on an inkjet printer. So the ink will smear on me. So I have to be very careful when I'm spreading the glue that actually what I'm going to do, I'm not going to use a liquid glue. I'm going to use my glue stick because it's a gel. I will less likely have any smears on my photo. It doesn't absorb into the paper as much as a liquid's going to absorb, like a Mod Podge or my Pent Art Decoupage glue. I don't need to use a decoupage glue. I just need permanent glue, which this glue stick is. So let's get her on there. And then I'm going to use a little bit of stickles on this. So everybody who ordered the kit got stickles, like a little bottle of stickles of a variety of colors. I didn't have I only had 12 kits, I think, or 11 kits, and I didn't have that many stickles in one color. But you might have gotten gold, you might have gotten blue. I use this one all the time. This one's called Stardust, and it's just clear glue with, they're like pearly colored glitter in it. And that's, I think, the one that I'm going to use because it's the most neutral. And I'm gonna put it probably, let's see. Actually, I have black, don't I? Gracie Grew, don't you have a black one? I thought I did. Oh, maybe not.
I was gonna say it would be really fun to put it in her hair, and her hair is black, but I'm gonna put this one in her hair, and maybe some around her. I don't know if it's a dress. It looks like she has like around her body, she has this band. Maybe it's seaweed and maybe it's a dress. I don't know. I'm going to put some around there too. So you'll get to see me. I'll hold it up so you can see. Come on. Be careful. When you're having trouble getting it out, work it until you get it out off of your project, because that first, you know how it is with some of these things, that first bit that comes out, sometimes it comes out really like a big blob, and I want it to be real controlled. So I got to get it down into the dispenser, the little pointy dispenser. And what I mean by that, if you check out, see how it has like a really pointy, it makes it almost like a pen. I'm going to put this throughout her hair, so it looks really naturally. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. Whoops. Oh my gosh, it shows up really well on the black. All right, look, I want you to look at one side of her hair I already stickled and the other side I did not. Look at the difference. Isn't that cool? So I followed, like even the curl in her hair, I followed that. And it's thick. It comes out in a really thin stream, but you can make this stuff, they're so cool. You can make it really tall. Like if I put it on here, I can almost make it look like the top of an ice cream cone, or it makes me think of like lemon meringue pie. My mom used to make it, and she used to do little peaks of the topping. Can you, I don't know if you can see that. Hold on, I'm gonna tear it off of here so I can hold it really close. It's right here. There's a blob of it right there. But look at how, see how raised up it is? It's like one of those candy dots. So I don't normally make it really tall on my projects. I normally just drag it really slowly so that it's a really thin line. That's the way I like to apply it. But of course, you do you, girl. When you get your stickles in your kit, you do it how you like it. I'm going to do a little bit more of her hair, and then I'll show it to you again. She has all these tendrils of hair that is actually seaweed, and I'm going to hit on those too. So something as small, and it just seems really like, it seems like it couldn't do a whole lot, but it really does add quite a bit to the effectiveness of your project. Okay, she has all these tendrils kind of running behind her neck and onto her shoulder. So I'm going to hit up on those a little bit, and I'll show you here in a second. It's such a small, I like a little bit of glitter, but I don't like it super like in your face glitter. I like it really soft. This is actually more glitter than I would normally use. I'm tempted to do something with her lips, but. So if you look around her neck here, she has all those tendrils of seaweed coming down. And I don't, like if I were to originally look at this, remember I said to you, it doesn't immediately look like a mermaid to me until you know that she's in the mermaid section on the graphics fairy. And then when you look at her neck, you can tell that is seaweed around her neck. That is not hair. That's not a necklace. She is adorned with seaweed. And so it makes more sense to me that she's a mermaid. Now I'll put her on a background, this napkin background that is all seashells and sea related. Is there starfish on there? Sea anemone, seaweed. Yeah, there's a starfish. There's scallop shells. And then she makes total sense as a mermaid. I just love that so much. I love that so much. I'm going to open up this hole. Remember that hole for the jute rope? It got closed up with the napkin. So now that that's nice and dry, wait until it's completely dry to do this. I just take my X-Acto knife
and run the blade along that hole very gently, and it'll cut off all of that so that you have your hole back. If you grab to the kit, or if you have stickles, you probably already know this, but if you grab to the kit and you're using stickles for the first time, it takes quite a while to dry. So be very careful that you don't bump your hand into your design. If you want it to be very specific, like all those strands of hair, be very careful not to bump into it with your hand because it will smear it on you. It's going to take a little while to dry. I think I'm going to use the jute rope because it seems to work really well. Like if you think about it, jute rope being used on lobster traps and crab traps and on boats. Makes a lot of sense to have some jute rope on this hanging project. This one, I am absolutely thrilled with this tag as an example of what you can do with your craft kit. You can source out or find your own focal points if you're using the background napkins. Graphics Fairy is a great website for that. Go to graphicsfairy.com, and she has a place where you can search, like if you want to search bunnies, or you want to search Cupid, or you want to search Halloween, or she has every topic imaginable, copyright-free photos that you can print out and use on your projects. It's a great website. This one, I'm not even going to finish this one, girls. I'm not loving this bird on this background. I feel like I need, let me get this in the garbage before I put my hand in it. That little dab of stickles. I'm just going to look at the rice paper and the photos that I grabbed. I feel like these birds are a little too, what's the word, girls? Why doesn't it go on that red and white background? They're too fancy or something. I need a barnyard animal. It's the vibe I want. This bird is just a little too fancy. I think even the girl that I picked here, I think she's just a little too fancy with all her pink bows and stuff. So I need to find a barnyard animal like this. This owl is not bad. I had printed this little lamb, but I need to increase the scale. I love that. I love that. It's just too small. I need to go back to my printer and print out a bigger one. And this rooster's fabulous. I just printed him too small. But he's really cute. He would be great on there, especially because he has the red on around his beak. So I got to print that out again. So I'm just going to wait. I don't ever feel like I don't want to put this on here and then be unhappy with it. I'd rather wait and print out exactly what I like. So there you have it. There is craft kit number 12. If you ordered the craft kit and you're going to be making these, please, I know a lot of you are Craft Therapy Club members. Please share your photos of your project in the Craft Therapy Club or in the free Crafty Chicks Club or in the new community offline, because we would love to see. Wherever you're most comfortable sharing, we would love to see it. All right, let's see what everybody's saying. A rooster, a pig, or a cow? Yes, all three of those things, Lisa, would be perfect for this. Holly says, we always went to Old Orchard around July 4th, and they had the best fireworks on the beach. We loved it there, Holly. And in fact, the year after we stayed there, I'm always the person that rents the house for my family. The year after we stayed there, I tried to get that same house that we had stayed at because it was awesome, but it wasn't available. Like, it was like, wow, it's already booked up. And then I have checked every year since then to see if we could get to Old Orchard Beach. And I have a huge family, so it's really difficult to find a house with 8 or 9 bedrooms. We need like at least 2 bathrooms because my family is enormous. So it's very hard for us to find a place where we can all stay. I think it was kind of a miracle that we found it that year, but I loved it. Every age group loved it. We stayed close enough to the beach and there's like a, what do you call it? It's like a carnival basically on the beach all the time. So they have Ferris wheel rides and like the tilt-a-whirl rides. And so it's kind of like a carnival on the beach. So every day, once the kids realized, what was it they were getting? Every day they would go down and get crepes. There were crepes, and you could get strawberry crepes, chocolate crepes. There was a crepe vendor. So every day, once the kids knew those were there, they got an adult to take them down to go get crepes. Snow cones, fried dough, hot dogs. I mean, they were all food vendors. Like you could get any t-shirt imaginable. Like, plus for the older kids, like my niece and nephew were in college at the time, they would take off and go down to the carnival and ride some rides. Plus, we could walk from the house that we were at. My brother's girlfriend, longtime girlfriend, Elaine, found out that one of the local bars had like a really good special at happy hour. And it was like margaritas for like $2 or something. And she's like, who wants to go to margaritas for $2? And we were like, yeah, let's go. So all of the adults, except my sister-in-law was pregnant at the time. So she's like, I'm going to stay here with the kids. So she stayed with the kids. And all the other adults walked down to the bar. We had a few margaritas and then we walked back to the house. It was totally safe, so much fun, so relaxing. We walked down to the beach each day. It was one of the best vacations we had. And it, like I said, it universally kept everybody happy from every age group. The little kids loved the beach, so we made sure to take them there. Some of them loved the carnival ride, so we made sure to take them there. Some of them just wanted the food, like the crepes, so we would take them and get that. There's plenty to explore. There were like antique shops there. I remember antique shops. My sisters and I would go thrift shopping or antiquing. It was a great, great place to go vacation. So Holly, the fact that you got to do that every 4th of July with the fireworks, how special. We do our vacation in July. Actually, now that you say that, Holly, we were there. I think that they do fireworks every Saturday, or at the time they did, because we were there for the week. And I think that once a week through the summer, they have fireworks on the weekend. So I think we got to enjoy we walked to the downtown area, which was just a couple of blocks from the house we were staying at, and watched the fireworks from down there, which was fun because there were a lot of people standing out watching them. It was the best. It was really, really a great vacation. Thursday nights. She said Thursday nights. So I knew there was one day a week and I thought it was on the weekend. We haven't been there. I mean, it was years ago that we went. My kids were still little. It was years ago. Do club members receive these as part of the membership, or would I need to order this if I want it, even if I am a club member? Oh, are you talking about the kit, Callie? Are you talking about the craft kit for the month? What I do is I create the craft kit. There's usually a limited number. Like I'm talking a dozen. So usually I have about a dozen of them. And I announce it first to the Craft Therapy Club members, and they have the option to purchase it first, okay? They get a discount. So the Craft Therapy Club members have a constant exclusive discount for anything in the shop. So every month they get first dibs on the craft kits, and I give them 24 hours to buy it using their discount. And then if there are 3 left, say, for example, I announce publicly that the craft kit of the month is available. And then everybody else has the option to purchase it at full price. So yes, Craft Club, the Craft Therapy Club members buy it. It's completely optional. Not everybody gets it, but it's optional and they get their discount, which nobody else gets a constant discount. So that's how that works. Hampton Beach used to have fireworks and bands each week. And yeah, I've been to Hampton Beach just a couple of times. I grew up in the Boston area, and I've been to it a couple of times, but not enough. I don't know Hampton Beach that well, actually. But my family members would go quite often with their friends to Hampton Beach. It's a really popular destination. I worked up in fact, the year that I worked up at a college in Haverhill, Massachusetts, Haverhill and Lawrence, Northern Essex Community College. It's a public community college. So right after I finished graduate school in Boston, I got a job at that community college, and I drove up to Haverhill every day for work from Boston. And the last day of work there, my work friends took me to Hampton Beach because it was pretty close for lunch, and we had fried dough, and that was a good memory, man. We took pictures on the beach, and because I was leaving Massachusetts to move to North Dakota. So that was my last few days at work. We went up to Hampton Beach, Andrea. So that'll bring up some good memories. Yes, Holly, she just said, great memories. They're great memories. Yeah, a pier is really fun. That pier at Old Orchard Beach is really long, and it's full of stuff. It has so much stuff in it to explore, little shops and stuff. Let's see. I'm just checking a comment, see if there's anything else. I've had so much fun chatting with you guys. I'm still dreaming of a crafting cruise with you chicks someday, so stay tuned. If I want to do it, once the kids get off to college, if I want to do it in 2 years, I probably would end up organizing it next year. So make sure you're on the Telegram channel or on the email list or join the free Podia community so that if we lose touch on Facebook, you can still connect with all of us off of social media in Podia. If you need that link, you could just message me, but I've been emailing that out to everybody on the email list to welcome them into the Podia community. All right, girls, go have a beautiful, blessed day. I will see you next time.